All right, we are back, and this is not a Rational Boomer podcast, and this isn't a not a podcast. This is just me popping in for 15, 20 minutes because there's some fucked up shit going on. I had some time. I thought I'd take this time to talk about some of the things happening. We'll talk more about it on the Rational Boomer podcast. I believe tomorrow Old Soul will be with us, so that should be interesting. But we had one event today. We've had a couple of events today, but the one main event was the U.S. Senate has confirmed Kash Patel as the director of the FBI. Now, I got to be honest with you. 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, a month ago, I would have bet that there's no way in hell that even the Republicans would confirm Kash Patel. As far as that goes, I believe that there's no way in hell the Republicans would have confirmed Pete Hegseth in the Defense Department or Tulsi Gabbard in intelligence. These people are unqualified, and over and above that, they're there to destroy the departments they're overseeing, and they're dangerous to this country. I thought, no way, not even Republicans would confirm these fucks. Little did I know that Donald Trump would be going after these Republicans who knew better, making threats. And what you need to know about these Republican senators, they find their position, their office, their power, their fealty to the orange dipshit. That's more important to them than the future of this country, the security of this country, and the well-being of the people in this country. They're ready to put all that up for their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. And that's exactly what happened. Now, Kash Patel is particularly dangerous and particularly unqualified. He has no idea how to run an organization like this. He's a dope. He's a goofball. And when I say goofball, I'll illustrate this for you. Now, he's been promoting far-right conspiracy theories, popular with the movement QAnon. Yeah, he's one of those motherfuckers that love QAnon, including the claim that the FBI incited the attack on the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Yeah, it was the FBI. It was the FBI, even though Donald Trump was president at the time. Donald Trump didn't leave office till the 20th at the inauguration. But somehow FBI, working against Donald Trump, created the distraction or the insurrection at the Capitol. It all makes no sense. I mean, they come up with a different thing every time. It was a peaceful protest. It was Antifa. It was FBI. Then tell me why all the Trump-la-fucks were in jail until Donald Trump pardoned them. It was all Trump-la-fucks in jail, all the goofy white supremacists. See, that's the problem with Kash Patel. He is dangerous, but he's also not a very serious person. He just says whatever comes into his mind. He's a lot like Donald Trump in that respect. Says anything, doesn't matter if it's a lie, repeats it a couple times, and then there's a faction of dumb fucks that believe everything he says. It's kind of a sad situation. Anyway, the Senate confirmed Patel in a vote of 51 to 49. Now, what that means is every one of the Democrats in the Senate voted against Kash Patel, as they should. Every Republican, save for two, voted for Kash Patel. See, this is really troubling to me because everybody in the Senate knows exactly who Kash Patel is. They know he's not qualified, that he's incompetent, that he's dangerous, and he's goofy, and he's a conspiracy theorist. Every one of them know that. And the Democrats reacted accordingly. But the Republicans know it too. They're too worried about their position and their power. And they don't care about the country, like I said. So they elected him to be the director of the FBI. Part of this can be attributed to Donald Trump, too. No doubt Donald Trump was on the phone making threats, because that's what Donald Trump does. And these cowardly fucks just bent over like everybody else does. Now, keep in mind, Kash Patel is going to be overseeing about 38,000 civil servants, of whom 13,000 are special agents And here's the kicker. This job is a 10-year term, not 2 years, not 4 years, 10 years. Now they can quit ahead of time. We saw Christopher Wray do that because he was afraid to deal with Donald Trump. He quit before his 10-year term. But Kash Patel theoretically could stay in this position. I would hope that the next Democrat that comes in kicks his sorry ass out. He might get kicked out before then because, as I said, he's very incompetent, like all the rest. Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard. All three of these people have an affinity for Russia, which isn't surprising when you know that Donald Trump is a Russian asset. That's why everybody freaks out about Tulsi Gabbard being a Russian asset. Who fucking cares? The president is a Russian asset. And we're seeing that play out over in the Ukraine-Russia war. You got to understand what's going on there. Donald Trump is supposed to be the mediator of peace between Russia and Ukraine in their war. The problem with that is Donald Trump has already picked a side. He's picked his best girlfriend, Vladimir Putin, and you can't be siding with one of the groups and be a mediator. Just makes no sense. By definition, you can't do that. But you can see what Donald Trump is doing. Donald Trump is siding with Vladimir Putin. He goes to Zelensky, claims he's a dictator, claims that Ukraine was responsible for Russia invading them. I don't know how the fuck that goes. Well, this is what he said. Well, you know, when the Russians were on the border, you could have cut a deal with them. And this is what Donald Trump wants. You should have just gave in to Vladimir Putin and given him whatever he wants. Well, Zelensky's not that kind of guy. Maybe Donald Trump is, but Zelensky isn't. And the good people of Ukraine ain't giving up shit. So Donnie Trump is there to try to find peace. He told us that he would end the war in one day, 24 hours. Well, he hasn't done that. And I'll tell you why he said that. He really believed that. He believed that once he became president, he could go to Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and pressure him and push him around and get him to do what Vladimir Putin wanted to do. Well, he misjudged that because Zelensky isn't doing that. So, for all intents and purposes, Donald Trump is pulling all support for Ukraine, which is pretty significant and pretty damaging, and makes it that much tougher for Ukraine to compete in this war. But then Donald Trump wants to cut a fucking deal. Yeah, he wants to cut a deal. He sends a note to Zelensky and said, listen, here's the deal. We'll keep the funding coming, but you've got to turn over half of your mineral rights, rare earth minerals, lithium, that kind of shit. You give us half, and it'll be like an investment. We'll keep the money coming. That's not a good deal. Zelensky doesn't want to give up his land. And in this deal, Donald Trump added, we'll give you the money, you give us half the mineral rights, and you got to let Russia keep what they've already gotten from Ukraine. See, this is a non-starter from the beginning. It's a stupid deal. And then you have to think about the fact this is Donald Trump. He's a pathological liar, and he's known for not paying his fucking bills. He doesn't pay his bills. So what would probably happen is he'd cut this deal. Ukraine would stop. Russia would stop bleeding money and having thousands of Russian troops die every year. They'd get half the mineral rights. And then Donald Trump would find some way to not pay the money. Oh, you made a mistake. We're not sending you to the money. A lot like United Health telling you you're not covered for something that you should obviously be covered. And then when the money stops, then of course Russia come in and takes whatever they want. And then Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin get to split up Ukraine. It sounds crazy. Under most circumstances, you would say that's not true. But you can see it happening here, can't you? You can see it happening here. And this is what Donald Trump wants to do. It's going to be interesting to see how much pressure he can apply to Zelensky. Ukraine is having a tough time of it because they're a smaller country. It's about money. And if America is not going to give them the money, it's going to make it all that much tougher. But I'd be surprised if Zelensky gives in. That goes against everything he stands for. You know, it's funny, Donald Trump is trying to diminish this guy. He calls him a dictator. He says Ukraine is responsible for the start of the war. He even went so far as to say that Zelensky's not even popular in his own country. His approval rating's like 4%. Not even close, motherfucker. The approval rating of Zelensky, Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine is 57%. He's very popular in Ukraine. And Donnie, I know you were hearing a lot of shit about how your polls are going up. Not anymore. They're dropping like a rock. 51% of this country disapproves of you. Only 44, 45% approve of you. And that's going to drop like a rock because every day you open your orange fucking mouth and do something stupid, it costs people money. It costs people jobs. It costs them their livelihoods. So Donald Trump's at an all-time high for this term of 45%, and it's just going to drop. But they're trying to pressure Vladimir Zelensky to give in. And I hope against hope that he doesn't give in. I hope he doesn't do that. I know the European Union is trying to pull together and back Ukraine. They have some skin in the game. If Russia comes into Ukraine, they could go into Poland, and then all of Europe's on the menu. They all know this. And you know, the funny thing is, Donald Trump thinks he's the strongest, has the most money, and that's why he can pressure Zelensky. But here's the deal. America doesn't give them the most money. It's actually Europe gives them the most money. Now, losing America's money would be problematic, but they still could sustain some things if Europe upped the ante a little bit, and it sounds like they might. But Donald Trump said something to Zelensky that for me is a big red flag. As you may have known, I was in business and I did some negotiations. I actually mediated between two sides to cut deals. And of course, the guy selling wanted all the money in the world. The guy buying didn't want to pay anything. So it was up to me in the middle to try to work this out so everybody's happy. Everybody wants to be the big winner, but I explained to these fucks, if you win this thing big, that's nice this time around. That motherfucker's not going to want to deal with you again. So you lose any return business. So fucking use your head. Anyway, Donald Trump said something. He offered this deal about taking 50% of their mineral rights. And you can tell when a guy's desperate, and you can tell when a guy's going to fuck you over. When he says, oh, you better hurry up and sign that deal. It's not going to be there forever. Yeah, that's when you run from a fucking deal like that. You don't listen to that shit. He's either desperate or he's trying to push you, trying to bully you, and it's absolute bullshit. And if you don't believe it's bullshit, remember what he said about Hamas. He said, if you don't release all the hostages by Saturday, all hell is going to break loose. Well, the ceasefire at this point is tenuous, and not all the hostages have been released. And what did Donald Trump do? He didn't do jack shit. He didn't do anything at fucking all. Did you hear Mitch McConnell has said he's going to retire? I thought he said this earlier, but I guess he was just talking about stepping down from leadership. But he's up for re-election in 2026 next year, and he's not going to run again. Good idea, you think? You can't walk up or downstairs. You pass out all the time. Sometimes you glitch up. We can't understand a motherfucking word you say. So he's quitting. And the interesting thing about Mitch McConnell, since he obviously decided he was going to quit, he got a little conscience, he got a little soul, a bit of heart, because he voted against some of Donald Trump's nominees. Maybe he's trying to buy his way into heaven. Maybe he's feeling a little bucky now that he doesn't have to worry about another election. But here's the thing, Mitch. The reason we're in this situation right now, you're at the very least partially responsible. You're responsible for the Supreme Court that we have to deal with right now. You're responsible for Donald Trump still being in power. You could have impeached and convicted him, but you chose not to because you're a gutless piece of shit. And if you're quitting because you're ill, I hope you're really fucking ill. I hope you are suffering, because no matter what good you do between now and the next election, you are evil and you are an enemy of this country. I'll take it a step farther. Donald Trump is without question an enemy of this country. All the politicians that stood with him, even if they don't agree with him fully, they are evil and they are an enemy of this country. And everybody that's voted for him in 16 and 20 and 24, you're all evil motherfuckers too. And eventually it will come crashing down. I get people coming to me saying, you say it's going to crash down, and it never does. It seems like it's all over. It's done. We can't win. I hate those fucking comments. They really make me angry. I'm not somebody that gets angry very often, but that makes me angry. And I'll grant you, what's going on with Donald Trump, I presume, would end a lot quicker than it has. But know this, every human being like Donald Trump always crashes in the end, and it's always very ugly. I'll start with my dad. It happened that way. Joe McCarthy, he all crashed and burned. Hitler, Mussolini, they all crash and burn. And Donald Trump will crash and burn eventually. Now, if you're one of those people that think that all is lost and the sky is falling, fuck you. You make me angry, because we are in a war now and we don't need pussy ass bitches. Here's the deal. If you think all is lost and you're going to cry and whine, just go sit at the kids' table and shut the fuck up while the adults handle the situation. Trust me, we will get through this. It's going to be painful as a motherfucker because of people in this country, but we will get through this. And I don't want to hear the bullshit and the whining and the crying. You're of no value to anybody when you're in a war. And make no mistake, we are in a motherfucking war. I wanted to bring something else up too. You know who the border czar is for Donald Trump? Tom Horman. Yeah, goofy, ignorant motherfucker. He looks like a combination of Fred Flintstone and Droopy Dog. Put it this way, if we were all out in the schoolyard picking teams for kickball, he'd be the last motherfucker picked. No question about it. He is a dumb, ignorant, fucking mushmouth piece of shit. Well, Tom Horman is angry at AOC. It's interesting. He's angry at AOC. And the reason he's angry at AOC is because AOC went on social media or even the regular media and was telling immigrants what their legal rights were and what they could do in light of all this deportation bullshit. That made Tom Horman mad. I don't like that. I know like. That's how he sounds. He sounds like a big old fucking dope. But anyway, he doesn't like it. What is it you don't like, Tom? She's just helping her constituents and she's using her First Amendment right. What problem do you see there? Well, Tom Horman went to the DOJ and says, I want you to investigate AOC. For what, motherfucker? Somebody asked him, did she break the law? He goes, I don't know. The DOJ will figure that out. Oh, so Tom, anybody you don't like, you just have the DOJ investigate them. And he didn't answer that. But to me, that sounds very much like weaponizing the DOJ, the thing that Donald Trump claimed the Democrats did. And if you want to talk about weaponizing the DOJ, how about the DOJ sending out letters to members of Congress? Because members of Congress may have said some negative things about Donald Trump. They said, we're going to investigate you. You see what's going on there. There's nothing to investigate. There are no laws or ethics broken when they do this. This is just another bully tactic. We're going to investigate you, so you shut up. See, this is a thing that they learned from dealing with Republicans. You threaten them, and then they'll do whatever you want. They're weak ass motherfuckers. That's the problem. Democrats have to be smarter than this. They can make those threats, but there is no reason to sue or file criminal charges. They're just bluffing and they're trying to scare you to back down. Whenever you're dealing with a bully, you do not motherfucking back down, because that's the only way you can beat these dumb sons of bitches. We do have quite a mess. And I know there are a lot of people terrified and upset. And all I can say is we got what we got. We got to do what we got to do. And we got to keep pushing forward. There is no time for crying and whining. We will beat this thing. It's inevitable. These people are stupid, they're incompetent, and they're evil. That never wins. It's just a matter of when this will all come to an end. It would be real easy if the Republicans could find a set of balls between all of them and actually push back. But to date, they have not been able to do that. We'll see if that day comes as we get closer to Donald Trump destroying the country and the Republicans finally realizing, oh, we're fucked at the midterms with Donnie Trump doing this. Will they ever get to that point? Or are they so terrified of Donald Trump that they will just stand by and fall off the cliff with him? I don't really fucking care. I think all of the Republicans and some of the Democrats are fucking worthless. I sometimes think we should purge the whole bunch and start the fuck over. And we have that capacity as the people. We have the numbers, we have the votes, and we have to use them properly and not get fucking fooled again like we did in November. All right, I'm going to wrap things up. We'll have the Rational Boomer podcast for tomorrow. There's one going on right now, just me talking about some emails and stuff. What else we got? Not a podcast is up there. It's a compilation of the TikToks I did for the day. So there's plenty of content up there for you if you have a need. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen, and we'll talk to you again real soon.